The date was September 30th, 1947, and those people you see looking into the store windows are watching something old and something new. The something old, the World Series. And the something new, an American phenom called television. The very first World Series game ever televised. Lucky ones were there in person. But most people then as now relied on cameras. There were newsreel cameras, still cameras, and a brand new one, the television camera. 1947, the first televised game. At the Yankee Stadium that day, a very special fan. They called the ballpark the house that Ruth built. And Babe was there to see his last World Series. The television cameras brought the game to comparatively few people then, but it was really the start of something big. The something big being NBC's 25th World Series telecast, which will be coming your way very shortly from right here. Hi, I'm Joe Garagiola with Sandy Koufax. We came out to Baltimore's Memorial Stadium pretty early to beat the traffic and to visit the managers. But first, Sandy, I have to ask you, in 1947, what were you doing? Watching television?
Well, Joe, I think in 1947 I was 12 years old, so I was probably either in school or should have been.
Man, that hurts a little bit. In 1946, I had played in the World Series. It wasn't televised. In 1947, I was reading my favorite quote of all ball players, the one that says, "The World Series is just another game." Do you believe that?
Well, I think you probably put that with the other famous quote the no-hit pitcher gives you. I didn't know I had it.
Didn't know he had it.
Yeah.
Except he's watching the scoreboard all the time.
Right.
It is a special kind of feeling, the World Series, Sandy.
I think so, Joe. I think it's special to the fans. I think it's special to the players, too.
And it's special for the managers, and we're going to be talking to the two special managers who'll be in this World Series, Earl Weaver and Danny Murtaugh.
World Series Report 71 with Joe Garagiola and Sandy Koufax. Brought to you by Texaco and the many thousands of Texaco retailers and distributors in all 50 states. Trust Texaco to have the right gasoline for you.
I'm in the Baltimore dugout with manager Earl Weaver, and this is going to be a busy place in just a couple of minutes. The Baltimore Orioles against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they had to beat Vita Blue, Baltimore did. Vita Blue and the Oakland Athletics, and here's a big base hit off Vita Blue that tied the game. And from that point on, Baltimore was never behind. They got here with superstars and a team effort, as all World Series participants get into a World Series. Team effort. I want Earl Weaver to tell me about this great ball club they put together here. Earl, the first guy that we see is Brooks Robinson.
We call him Mr. Clutch, Joe. He seems to be able to rise to any occasion, both offensively and defensively, as you've seen last year in the World Series. That's Boog Powell, who got off to a slow start at the start of the season, but came on strong after his wrist mended, carried us in September, and was outstanding during the playoffs.
Is he okay now?
He's okay. It'll be a day-to-day basis. Dave Johnson, one of the most underrated ball players on our ball club, an all-star second baseman for 4 years, has helped us offensively and defensively just like everyone else has. Here's been our most consistent hitter for the year, Merv Rettenman. In fact, he led our club last year and this year. He sprays the ball to all parts of the ballpark and can hit with power at times. Here you'll see probably the best defensive shortstop in baseball today. I compare him with Marty Marion of years back, Mark Belanger. And here's our old pro who always can rise to the occasion also. This base hit, after not getting a hit through the first two games, wound up being the winning run Frank drove in, and then scored an insurance run a little bit later.
Big Boog scoring. Earl, in 69, when you lost to the Mets, they talked about you being overconfident at your ball club. Now everybody talks about how confident you are against Pittsburgh. Where is the fine line that a manager has to draw?
I think it's pitching. In 69, I think it was the Mets pitching, and this year I hope it's going to be ours.
You're talking about pitching, do you have your set rotation?
Yeah, we've got McNally going the first game, Palmer the second, Cuellar the third, and either McNally coming back or Dobson going the fourth, depending on what happens.
It seems like left-hander, right-hander, left-hander, right-hander. Is that a pattern?
Well, we keep them from getting in there 2 days out on us.
Is there anybody on that Pittsburgh club that you'll try to pitch around? Usually there is.
Well, I think the left-handers will go after Stargell and pitch around Clemente, and the right-handers vice versa.
Earl, good luck to you.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Earl Weaver of the Baltimore Orioles, and Sandy Koufax will be visiting with Danny Murtaugh in just a few seconds.
3, 2.
Danny Murtaugh, just to make you a little bit more comfortable, make you feel at home, we've gotten you a rocking chair. And I think possibly to make you feel a little comfortable at home, I'd like to take a look at some of the players who won the pennant and made it possible for you to get here.
Well, Sandy, right there hitting now is Big Will. We wouldn't have been here without Willie. He carried us for 3/4 of the season, and I have never seen one power hitter keeping a streak so long. And I think we just showed a photo there of big Bob Robson, our first baseman. Marichal tried to throw a fastball, and he got a little bit up and outside, and he hit it to center field, and he really hit it a mile. He's a lot of power. And this is our boy that got hot in the world into our playoff series. I'm talking about Richie Hebner. He hit 2 balls over the fence in the series, and both of them were on bad balls. So I think he left the doubt to the Giants' mind is just about where to pitch this fella. And here, to me, is the greatest player I've ever seen, Roberto Clemente. I know a lot of people question his power, but I've always said that he not only knocks in all the important runs for us, but he sets up a lot of runs for the hitters in back of him. So therefore, his value to our ball club is doing the RBIs for the good hits and also setting up the runs. This is Dave Justy, our best relief pitcher. For 2 years, I think he's been the outstanding pitcher in the National League. And you see him right here getting a ground ball to Hebner for the 3rd out and clinching the series for us and putting us into playoffs.
Well, Danny, those are happy days. You're starting all even again now. It's the World Series. Some people have questioned your pitching. I think it's going to be up to the pitching staff. Last year in this World Series, Cincinnati scored runs against Baltimore. They didn't hold Baltimore. What about your pitching staff? What's the pitching rotation going to be?
Well, Sandy, ever since the first day of spring training, everybody has told me my pitching hasn't been strong enough. And here it is. We're in the October Classic. I would say that my pitching has been good enough. In other words, I have a pitching staff that the other team has scored 4 or 5. We've scored 6. And if we had to win a 1-run ball game, we won a 1-run ball game. Now, I'm going with Doc Ellis today. I'm going with Bob Johnson tomorrow. And for the opener in Pittsburgh, I'm throwing Steve Blass. There are 3 of my best pitchers, and I'm quite sure they'll give a good account of themselves.
Danny, you platooned most of the year. Hebner was a big man for you. So was Al Oliver in the playoffs. With a left-hander going today, are you going to maybe stick with them, or are you going to go to the platoon?
Well, Sandy, I really haven't quite made my lineup out as yet. I'll go back in my office after we get through talking, and I'll do a little bit of thinking. And then when we come out on the field for the first time, I'll announce my starting lineup then.
Okay, well, I'll take a look then, Danny. I won't ask you anymore. Dan, thank you very much, and good luck to you.
Well, thank you, Sandy, and I'm sincere in saying that they're going to see a pretty good series out there.
Unless that becomes a used car, Sandy, that's the cart that the Baltimore relief pitchers will be brought in. This could be a Baltimore series. How about the bullpens?
I think, Joe, that would be the big question. Both ball clubs are capable of scoring runs. They talk about the Pirates' power, but I think Baltimore has good power, too. And I think it's going to be up to the Pittsburgh team to contain the Baltimore power.
I know we talked about this before, and most ball players who watch a series root for fellas not to have that one play that'll make them the so-called GOAT. I hate that expression to begin with. You want to pick a hero?
Well, I think Danny Murtaugh has been platooning all year. That's what got him here, and I know Danny will probably do that again today, so he'll go with his right-hand lineup. I like Gene Klein's in center field. He's got great speed. He's probably the fastest man in the National League now, and I think if he gets a chance to run and steal a couple of bases, I think he could be a deciding factor in the ball game.
Klein's.
Right.
I picked Retterman of the Baltimore Orioles to be a big man for the Orioles because he seems to hit the ball all over like you need a 6-2-2-1 defense against him.
Well, he'll make it a little tough out in right field, but you've got probably the best right fielder in baseball out there in Clemente, so, well, you can only hope.
Clemente was a tough guy to pitch to, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Danny was talking about his power, that people suspect his power. Well, I think if you played in that old Pittsburgh ballpark, as you well know, there are not too many right-hand hitters going to hit the home run.
No, that's a two-base hit in a triples ballpark. Sandy, do you think that it'll be Baltimore's pitching against Pittsburgh's power?
No, I think it's probably going to be Pittsburgh's pitching against Baltimore's power. I think Pittsburgh must contain the Orioles.
So we completely disagree, and I guess we'll go like Bob Veal and say that good pitching stops good hitting, or vice versa. But let's just sit back and watch another ball game.
Just another game.
Just another game.
World Series Report 71 has been brought to you by Texaco and the many thousands of Texaco retailers and distributors in all 50 states. And now stay tuned following station identification for game number 1 of the 1971 World Series.
Belonged to one man, Brooks Robinson. No player has ever had a more dazzling series both in the field and at bat. Robinson and his Baltimore teammates defeated Cincinnati 4 out of 5 in 1970 as they atoned for the loss to the New York Mets in 1969. And now it's World Series time again, and the Orioles must defend their World Championship against the hard-hitting Pittsburgh Pirates. The drama begins today in Baltimore, Maryland, as NBC Sports, a service of NBC News, presents Game 1 of the 1971 World Series. The National League champions, the Pittsburgh Pirates, versus the American League champions, the Baltimore Orioles. Brought to you by Chrysler Corporation, Extra Care in Engineering. Your host today, your local Dodge dealer. By the two-bladed razor, the new Gillette Track 2 twin-blade cartridge shaving system. And by Phillips 66, the performance company. At Phillips 66, it's performance that counts. Hi, everybody. This is Kurt Gowdy of NBC Sports. Chuck Thompson, the broadcaster of the Baltimore Orioles, and down around the dugouts in the stands of NBC will be Tony Kubek. The temperature, mid-60s today. Overcast, the sun trying to fight through. A 20% chance of rain today, 80% chance of rain tomorrow for Game 2. The Orioles have been established a 2-1 favorite to win this World Series. And why not? They've got impressive credentials. 4 20-game winners. They won 100 games again during the season. It's a beautifully balanced baseball machine with hitting, power, defense, pitching, age, and youth. And yet we think the one key to this World Series is going to be the pitching of the Pittsburgh Pirates. We have a hunch the pitching is better for the Pirates than people expect. And if it is, you're going to have an exciting World Series because the Pirates can challenge any pitching staff with the hard-hitting ball club they have from top down to bottom. Now to get the starting pitchers on the line here for you. First of all, Doc Ellis is going to be starting it off for the Pirates. He was their top winner this year. He won 19 games. He's a question mark, though, with a sore elbow that plagued him in the last few weeks of the season. The top winner of the Baltimore staff goes today. He's a left-hander, Dave McNally, who won 21 games. And he also had elbow problem. He missed a month of the season during July. So it's McNally, a left-hander, against Ellis, a right-hander. And I think with that left-handed starter going for Baltimore, Chuck Thompson has some slants of his own to pass along to you. Chuck?
Well, thank you very much, Kurt. Good afternoon, everybody. I think it's a little significant that Baltimore starts a left-handed pitcher against the Pirates, who just really tore up left-handed pitching. They won 39 times against left-handers and lost only 19. Now, why would Baltimore do it? Well, obviously, 1 point. They feel quite certainly that Cuellar and a McNally are perhaps a cut above some of the left-handers in the National League the Pirates are swinging at. But almost as important, maybe more important, is the fact that the big bats of Al Oliver and Rich Hebner will be on the sidelines. That will take away from the Pirates' attack 31 home runs and 131 runs batted in. It replaces those figures with 6 home runs and 39 runs batted in off the bats of Gene Kleins and Jose Pagan. The Orioles, a very hot ball club, finished this year the way they did a year ago. They have now won 14 straight ball games. And let's take a look now at the home park of the world champion Baltimore Orioles here, Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. It is a good baseball park. It favors neither the hitter nor the pitcher. And we'll take a look down the left field line. It is 309 feet into the corner. That yellow stripe that you see, well, anything to the left side of it is in play. If it hits on the yellow stripe or to the center field side of it, it is a home run. The power alleys, 380 feet down into right center, and 390 rather in right center and left center. It is 410 feet straight away into center field, and the very same dimensions carry through into the right field corner of the home park of the Baltimore Orioles. And now, with pleasure, let's go downstairs to Tony Kubek.
You know, if you look to what the odds makers are saying, and of course the members of the press and most other people, they say the Pittsburgh Pirates don't even belong in the same ballpark with these Baltimore Orioles. But remember this. During those championship series with the San Francisco Giants, they beat a pitcher, Juan Marichal, one of the best in baseball. They beat him with good defense and a couple of home runs, 2-1. When they had to score runs, they did score them off Gaylord Perry in that final game of the playoff series. The Pittsburgh Pirates have a team that is difficult to pitch to, as Curt Gowdy and, of course, Chuck Thompson have told you. Roberto Clemente and, of course, Manny Sanguillen. Where do you pitch them? Where do you play them? Should Willie Stargell get hot? Well, the Orioles are going to have to score an awful lot of runs in this World Series. My personal prediction, and maybe I'm looking back to history, the 1960 World Series, which our Yankees were a part of, I think it's going to be Pittsburgh in 7 games. Let's go back upstairs.
Brave prediction there, Mr. Kubek, and we'll see how it all comes out. We have 54,000, a complete sellout here today in Memorial Stadium. And now we're going to meet the lineup of the Pirates and the Orioles.
1971 World Series. Here are the official lineups. First, the National League champion Pittsburgh Pirates. Here is the manager of the Pirates, number 40, Danny Murtaugh. Batting first, playing second base, number 30, Dave Cash. Batting second, playing center field, number 15, Gene Kleins. Batting third, playing right field, number 21, Roberto Clemente. Batting fourth and playing left field, number 8, Willie Stargell. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 7, Bob Robertson. Batting sixth, catching for Pittsburgh, number 35, Manny Sanguillen. Batting seventh, playing third base, number 11, Jose Pagan. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 2, Jack Hernandez. Batting ninth and pitching for the Pirates this afternoon, number 17, Doc Ellis, who is warming up on the sidelines. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Gene Alley, Steve Blass, Nelson Briles, Vic Dabalio, Dave Justy, Richie Hebner, Bob Johnson, Bruce Keeson, Milt May, Bill Mazeroski, Bob Miller, Bob Moose, Al Oliver, Charlie Sands, Bob Veal, Luke Walker, and the coaches, Don Leppert, Frank Osiak, Don Osborne, Dave Ricketts, and Bill Virden. Now for the American League champion, Baltimore Orioles. Here is the manager of Baltimore, number 4, Earl Weaver. Batting first, playing left field, number 9, Don Buford. Batting second, playing center field, number 14, Merv Redmond. Batting third, playing first base, number 26, Boog Powell. Batting fourth, playing right field, number 20, Frank Rabiton. Batting fifth, catching for Baltimore, number 10, Elrod Hendricks. Batting sixth and playing third base, number 5, Brooks Rabiton. Batting seventh, playing second base, number 15, Dave Johnson. Batting eighth, the shortstop, number 7, Mark Bellinger. Batting ninth and pitching for the Orioles this afternoon, number 19, Dave McNally, who is warming up on the sidelines. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the Baltimore Orioles: Paul Blair, Mike Cuellar, Clay Dalrymple, Jerry DeVannon, Pat Thompson, Tom Dukes, Andy Etchebarren, Dick Hall, Grant Jackson, Dave Leonard, Kurt Moten, Jim Palmer, Pete Rickert, Chico Salmon, Tom Chauffet, Eddie Watt, and the coaches Jim Fry, Billy Hunter, and George Stoller. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem, which will be sung by the chorus of the Chesapeake.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the rampart we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
We're going to have the ceremonial first pitch now that will open the 1971 World Series. Cameramen and our cameras of NBC focused on the commissioner's box, where the commissioner of baseball, Bowie K. Kuhn, will throw out the first pitch. And to his right is Mrs. Kuhn.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Also in the box, as the guest of the commissioner today, is the Postmaster General Winton Blunt. And there's Joe Cronin, shaking hands with Ellie Hendricks. He's the president of the American League. So the third base side today is the American League side, and the first base side, the visitors, the Pirates, and the National League side. There it is to Ellie Hendricks. One more. So there it is, and Game 1 of the 1971 World Series is being brought to you from Baltimore as the Orioles meet the Pirates. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. All right, Kurt Gowdy back with you, along with Chuck Thompson and Tony Kubek at first base for the Orioles. Boog Powell playing second base, Dave Johnson. This is a marvelous infield they have. Mark Belanger is the shortstop. And over at third, Brooks Robinson. The left fielder will be Don Buford. Bit of a surprise in center field today. Merv Retman is starting in place of Paul Blair. The Orioles want a little more punch in their lineup. And in right field, Frank Robinson. Behind the plate will be Ellie Hendricks and Dave McNally will be pitching for Baltimore. We have 6 umpires today. Nestor Shylock behind the plate, Ed Sudol at first, John Rice working at second, Ed Bargo at third, James Odom down the left field line, and John Kibler will be working the right field line. Dave McNally from the Big Sky country of Montana now lives in Lutherville, Maryland, a Baltimore suburb. 5'11", 190, 28 years old, has been compared many times to Whitey Ford when he used to work so brilliantly with the New York Yankees. And you can take a look at McNally's statistics. They're great ones. Here's the first pitch of the 71 World Series to Cash, and it's ball 1. Cash hit .289 this year. 2 homers, 34 RBIs. Had a good playoff, 8 hits and 19 times up. He's from Utica, New York. And there's a liner into center. Retman is there, and there's one down. Cash lines to center. Gene Klein is up next. Here's the fastest player on the Pirate team. And we'll watch the Baltimore infield. It'll probably move in a step or two. Gene Klein lives in Richmond, California, 24 years old. He's only 5'9", but in high school he high jumped 6 feet 7 3/4. He hit .308. He's coming strong now, and he's a player of the future for the Pirates. They have a lot of good young ones. McNally's fastball's on the inside corner. That's the way McNally likes to work. Move that fastball in and out, break the curves off in the fist, or tease you low and outside with him. A real craftsman. There's the slow one. Then he had him way off balance. Strike 2. McNally had the longest winning streak of any American League pitcher this past season. He won 13 in a row. Curve is slashed foul down the right field line. No balls, 2 strikes to Gene Klein. Dave McNally had his 4th consecutive 20-win season this year, and he became the first American League pitcher to perform this feat since Red Ruffing of the Yankees back in the 1930s. His fastball's high. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Gene Klein. 1 out, nobody on. There's no score. Top of the first. The great one, Roberto Clemente's on deck. That's his nickname in Pittsburgh. Changeup is hit high in the air in the shallow left. Buford coming on, going back Belanger, and Buford puts it away, and they're 2 down. So changing speeds. McNally fools Kleins. Roberto Clemente hit .341 this year. 13 homers, 86 runs batted in. He hit .333 in the National League playoffs. Now let's watch. It's going to be interesting to see where Baltimore defensively plays these batters. They're playing Clemente way over in right center. Retman in right center, seen there, and Frank Robinson toward the right field line. Most clubs in the National League pitch Clemente outside. And that's where McNally's pitching him on that outside corner, strike 1. Clemente can pull the inside pitch. He slashes the ball all over, as most of the Pirates do. They're a very hard team to defense. You can't play them just any one way. The 1-strike delivery. There's a drive into deep right center. Frank Robinson going back, and that ball's off the wall. Clemente digging for 2, and he's in there with a stand-up double to the opposite field. Typical Clemente hit.
Kurt, let's take a look at that great swing of Roberto Clemente as he just doubled into the alley in right center field. Beautiful. As you mentioned a moment ago, Clemente can and will hit the ball to any and all fields, and that ball seemed to be coming in on him a little bit, yet he took it the other way.
All right, Willie Stargell, who had a miserable playoffs for the Pirates, 14 times up without a hit, is hoping to break loose in the World Series. A ball to him. He's the home run king of the major leagues this year with 48. He hit .295. He struck out 6 times in the 4-game National League playoff. The Pirates have Clemente at second, 2 down. No score, top of the first inning. Fastball's away, 2-0. They're playing Stargell as a pull hitter to right. And they're playing him deep. Stargell, a hit on the count, 2 balls, no strikes. Fouls it back. 2-1 to Willie Stargell. This is the 6th World Series start for Dave McNally. World Series record, 2 wins and a loss. He shut the Dodgers out 1-0 to complete a 4-game sweep for the Orioles in 1966. 2-1 delivery on the way. Ball 3, 3-1. Working Stargell outside. Stargell, born in Earlsboro, Oklahoma, lives now in Pittsburgh. 30 years old. Right in his prime. The 3-1 delivery. He committed himself. Strike 2. 3-2. The new ballpark in Pittsburgh has helped Stargell. 3-2 pitch. Foul ball. Just got a piece of it. 2 down. Roberto Clemente at second base. No score, first inning. Clemente, of course, an excellent base runner. Four really tough men in a row in this Pirate lineup. Clemente, Stargell, Robertson, and Sanguillen. 3-2 pitch to Willie Stargell. Blew it by him. No runs for the Pirates. 1 hit, there were no errors, and 1 man left. Middle of the first inning, the score. The Pirates nothing, the Orioles coming to bat.
Have you seen any difference? But after working him outside, he came inside.
Yeah.
Fastball.
Good fastball, yeah. It's quick with it. Yeah, isn't it? The ball just jumps off his bat. Yeah. Coaching. 30 out.
Out. 2. My voice. 4.
55-year-old George Stoller coaching at first for the Orioles, his 4th year as a Baltimore coach, and 43-year-old Billy Hunter coaching at third, used to be a big league ball player, shortstop. This is his 8th season as a Baltimore coach. And the first 3 men up for the Orioles will be Don Buford, Merv Rettenman, and Boog Powell, facing 26-year-old Doc Ellis. Born in Los Angeles, lives now in Pittsburgh. He won 19 games and lost 9. The year before, he won 13 and lost 10. He was a starter for the National League in the All-Star game. Had a tremendous first half of the season, was slowed down in the second half by elbow problems. Bounding ball by switch hitting Buford to second baseman Dave Cash, and there's one down. Now Ellis has two types of fastball. One rises, the other one sinks. So Sanguillen, the catcher, will give him two fastball signals. He has a slider and a breaking pitch.
Number 14,
Merv Retman, the leading hitter in the Orioles this year, hit .318, 11 homers, 75 runs batted in. A ball to him. And he wound up third in the American League in batting. Retman has been sitting on the bench for a couple of years, part-time. He hits a chopper. Here's a tough play for Hernandez. The throw, he's got him. Good play by Jackie Hernandez. 2 down.
Let's take a look at the fine play again by Hernandez. Now, this is anything but artificial turf, but it is very quick, and what a beautiful play contributed by, and just got him without any trouble whatsoever. And now let's look at him again, all alone. The throw of Hernandez off balance, coming toward the plate, throwing toward first base. A beautiful play by the Pirates shortstop. Fine.
Boog Powell has a switch on against him now. Notice the shortstop right in back of second. A curve by Ellis is in for a strike. Powell hit .256, 22 homers, 92 RBIs. He's playing with a bad hand. He has torn fibrous tissue in the back of his right hand. He also has a broken wrist earlier in June. And he says his swing is not right. Strike 2. He still hit 2 homers in one game against Oakland, though, in the playoffs. Wonder what he does when he's healthy. 2 down, nobody on, no score in the last of the first inning. Doc Ellis averaged 5 strikeouts a game every 9 innings he pitched this year. And there's a chopper, and the shortstop, Hernandez, handles this one on the right side and throws him out. So Ellis overpowered the Orioles in the last of the first. And at the end of the first inning, our score is Pittsburgh 0 and Baltimore 0.
Let's hear from Pirate first baseman Bob Robertson. His opinion about Oriole left-hander, the man starting game number 1 today, the 20-game winner, 21-game winner, Oriole left-hander Dave McNally.
Bob, what about Dave McNally? Well, I've never faced McNally before, but our scouting reports on him are that he pitches right handers away with his breaking stuff, and if he gets 2 strikes on it, he tries to come high and tight with his fastball.
Bob Robertson, strike 1 to him. He is the only starting white player in the Pittsburgh lineup. One time this year, Danny Murtaugh started 9 blacks, and as he said, when it comes to making out my lineup, my players know I'm not colorblind. There's a foul ball back out of play. Robertson had a tremendous playoff series, 3 homers in 1 game at San Francisco, another homer in Pittsburgh against the Giants. And he is a native of Maryland, Frostburg, Maryland, moving along into the line of great sluggers turned out by this state. McNally's 2-strike pitch. Outside. A fellow named Babe Ruth. Home run Baker. Old Double X, Jimmy Fox. Charlie Keller, who lives in Frederick, Maryland nearby. Ex-Yankee slugger. Inside, ball 2, strike 2. Bill Swish Nicholson was from Chestertown, Maryland. The state of Maryland has turned out some hard-hitting ball players. And, of course, Lefty Groh, one of the all-time pitchers. 2-2 to Bob Robertson. To the backstop, 3-2 count. Robertson in '68 missed the entire season. He had a kidney obstruction and had to have kidney surgery. And he's on. McNally high with that fastball on the last 2 pitches. Well, the Pirates have had a base runner each inning. And here's the happy one now, Manny Sanguillen. He hit .319 this year. 7 homers, 81 RBIs, a line drive hitter that just sprays the ball all over the ballpark. And he walked only 6 times, aside from intentional walks all year, and over 500 times at bat. He says, I like to swing. Me come up there to hit. Give me 3 pitches, I'm either on or I'm back in the dugout. And he'll swing at anything. He is the fastest running catcher in baseball. He's hard to double up. Robertson at first. Nobody out. Foul ball, strike 1.
Kurt, you mentioned that Manny will swing at anything. I believe this is true that he swung at a pitch this year that hit him.
Wouldn't surprise me a bit. He's always got that grin on his face. I've seen him swing at him over his head and in the dirt. A 1-strike pitch. And down to second goes Bob Robertson. A wild pitch charged against Dave McNally. You don't usually see McNally this far out of the strike zone, do you, Chuck?
No, it is not a pattern of McNally to throw anything but strikes. He is the kind of pitcher that, as you know very well, Kurt, that believes in making the batter hit his pitch. He doesn't feature very many strikeouts. He is seldom very wild. And there is another thing that is very true of McNally. He seldom, if ever, beats himself. And, of course, walks and wild pitches would be beating yourself. He's the kind of fellow you have to go get.
He walked 2.3 batters every 9 innings this year. And as Chuck said, he's not a strikeout pitcher. He averaged only 3.7 strikeouts for every 9 innings this year. He's usually around the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike to Manny Sanguillen, native of Panama. Ball 2 to Sanguillen. 2-1. Pirates had Clemente on second in the first inning. Now they have Robertson on second here in the second inning. Nobody out. 2-1 delivery. Ground ball to short. Belanger is going to third and hits the runner. Robertson goes into the dugout. Bob Robertson scores. And down to second goes Sanguillen. And the Orioles, who are not supposed to make many mistakes, who don't beat themselves, watch this rerun now, have hurt themselves here in the second inning.
They really have. The Belanger throw, it looks as though it hit Robertson right on the batting helmet coming in. And that is exactly what happened. Hit Robertson on the batting helmet, and another point for wearing that helmet on the base pass. The error is charged to the shortstop. Now here comes Robertson all alone right toward third base, and the ball hits him on the batting helmet. Nothing Brooks can do about it. Charge. Shortstop Belanger with the error. Pirates lead 1-0. Kurt?
It's always a gamble play, that play going to third. Pitch is high for a ball. Sanguillen wound up at second. Belanger charged with an error. The Pirates leading 1-0. Nobody out. And Jose Pagan, who hit .241 this year, chops it to McNally. He's going to have to hurry this throw, and it is just in time. Sanguillen made his turn and holds at third. Pagan out from McNally to Powell. Jackie Hernandez coming up. Hit .206 during the year.
The shortstop, number 2.
If there's one weak spot in that Pirate batting order, it's Hernandez. And the pitcher. Now the infield draws in. Right on the edge of the grass. The outfield will play Hernandez straight away. A fast man, Sanguillen at third. There's a squeeze on. It's the suicide squeeze to the plate. Gets by the catcher. Sanguillen scores. There goes Hernandez down to second. And that's twice the Orioles have thrown the ball away. But I think the suicide squeeze would have worked anyway. The runner was coming on the pitch.
Well, it was definitely, as you said, Kurt, the suicide squeeze, a runner coming, and McNally got to it and knew he had to hurry. He couldn't take time to set up and make the throw. Well, now as we look at it on the magic of videotape, it's quite possible that Hendricks might have had a play. Here comes that runner, Sanguillen, headed for the plate. Now, see if you don't think that maybe Hendricks, with a better throw, might have had a play. I think he might have had a play with a better throw, and they might have gotten Sanguillen at the plate, but the throw was off the mark. And again, the Orioles have made something they don't often do, another mistake.
A sacrifice for Hernandez. An error charged on the catcher, Hendricks. And Doc Ellis, the Pirate pitcher's up. Fastball for a strike to him. Pirates lead 2-0. The Orioles, a brilliant defensive team, have not looked that way so far in this game. 1 strike to Ellis. Only 1 down and a runner on second. It's outside. Ball 1, strike 1. I don't believe that throw could have got him at the plate, Chuck. It was off to the side. But you never know until they both were there together. Swung late, strike 2. 1-2 to Doc Ellis.
Kurt, as we looked at that replay again, obviously he would not have been able to get him with that kind of a throw. But a better throw had it been to the inside of the plate, and certainly Hendricks did have a play on the suicide squeeze, but McNally didn't make the good throw.
A 1-2 pitch to Doc Ellis. Fooled and a high fastball. Second strikeout for McNally. Now the top of the order, and Dave Cash, who lined to center his first time. Cash, a fine all-around athlete at Utica, New York. 2 down for the Pirates. Jackie Hernandez at second. They gave Hernandez an RBI on that bunt. On that suicide squeeze bunt. There's a line drive into center. Hernandez is coming in to score, and the Pirates have a 3-0 lead. Cash singles to center. So a 3-run inning here for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And now Earl Weaver comes out, and we're going to get some action in the Baltimore bullpen. Grant Jackson and Dave Leonard are starting to warm up. Jackson is the left-hander. Leonard is the right-hander. Earl Weaver going back.
Just a quick point as we watch Weaver to the dugout. This is a job that Kurt normally would be handled by the Oriole pitching coach George Bamberger. Unfortunately, Bamberger is confined to a Baltimore hospital, recuperating, doing very well, but he will be there for another 2 weeks and is unable to serve, as he has served so well for Baltimore as the pitching coach.
Gene Klein's flied to left field his first time. A strike to him. Cash, a fast man at first. He stole 13 bases in 18 attempts this year. Ellie Hendricks is not the greatest defensive catcher in baseball. They may try and go on him. His counterpart, Manny Sanguillen, has one of the best throwing arms in the game. Both catchers box the ball around a bit in back of the plate. Pounding ball to Belanger. To second base, he had trouble digging the ball out of his glove, and it was a closer play than it looked when it started. Belanger had trouble getting the ball out of his mitt. A force out at second on Cash. 3 runs for the Pirates. They had only 1 hit. There were 2 errors and 1 left. And at the end of an inning and a half, it's Pittsburgh 3, Baltimore 0.
Your attention, please. Frank Melnick. Contact the Orioles.
Against side of blue, McNally in the first 4 innings gave up 3 runs and 6 hits, and then shut him out on 1 hit for the remaining 3.
What's Durgan's title? What's his title?
What's Durgan? How can you hope the president the same thing? How can you hope the president president of the company, president of the Marine?
The commissioner, Bowie Kuhn, and to his left is Julian Goodman, the president of the National Broadcasting Company. To Mr. Goodman's left is Don Durgan, the president of the NBC Television Network. Mrs. Kuhn next to the commissioner. And now it's Frank Robinson, Ellie Hendricks, and Brooks Robinson up in the last half the second. Frank Robinson hit .281 for the year, 28 homers, 99 RBI. Doc Ellis is inside with a breaking pitch for a ball. Robinson didn't hit much in the playoffs, only one hit in 12 times. There's that sinker, 1-1. Doc Ellis's 8th professional season. Began in a Pirate organization in '64. He was booed today when his name was announced as the starting pitcher. And making the newspapers and radio. There's a high drive into deep left, way up. That one is going, and it is gone. A home run for Frank Robinson.
Let's take a look again at the swing of Frank Robinson that puts Baltimore on the board. This is something Frank has done in every World Series in which he has played. He has hit at least a home run. And this home run will be his 7th World Series home run. And as Kurt mentioned, there just wasn't any doubt about it. The minute it left the bat, it was gone, and the Orioles have a run.
Ellie Hendricks goes after the inside pitch and fouls it off. Hendricks hit .250 for the year. Had 2 out of 4. There's the Pirate manager in his jacket with his arms crossed, Danny Murtaugh. Bill Verdon to his left. Bounding ball and a broken bat. Cash fields it, throws to first, and gets Hendricks one down. And Brooks Robinson, the most popular ball player of all time here in this city of Baltimore, is up. You all remember the show he put on last year. But he was laughingly telling me today they didn't remember the '69 series. There's a high drive and a deep left. Room, though, for Gene Klein. He has it, and there are 2 down. Because Brooks Robinson in the '69 World Series had only 1 hit in 19 times up. Now it's Dave Johnson coming up. This telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. And any publication, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. 3-1 Pittsburgh, last half the second. Dave Johnson. A good pitch, knee high in that outside corner. Johnson hit .282. Hit .281 last year and .280 the year before. He's going up a point a season. A strike to him. 0-2. The on-deck batter is Mark Belanger. Very solid ball player, this boy, Johnson. The 2-strike pitch. A soft liner back to the box, and that's all. 1 run, 1 hit, the home run by Frank Robinson. No errors, nobody left. At the end of 2 innings, Pittsburgh 3 and Baltimore 1.
Right. What is this? Start the talking about what?
How's he getting
out of the slump? Okay.
What's he going to do?
Yeah. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, but don't crowd us up too much now. Christ for heaven. Wait a little. Why do they want to push everything right in the first inning?
5, 4, 3, 2.
The Pittsburgh coaches today are Don Leppert, 39 years old. This is his 4th season as Pittsburgh coach. He's at first base. And over at third is 59-year-old Frank Oshiak, who's serving his 9th season as a Pirate coach. And Roberto Clemente will lead off in the 3rd inning for Pittsburgh, to be followed by Willie Stargell and Bob Robertson. Clemente doubled off the right center field fence his first time. He's one of the few left from the Pirate 1960 World Championship team. Ball one to him. Incidentally, the Pirate owner, Mr. John Galbraith, is leaving after this game today for Paris, France. The 1-0 pitch. Curve is in, 1-1. He has one of the top 2-year-old race horses in the world over there, and he named the horse Roberto, after Roberto Clemente. The 1-1 pitch. And there's a typical Clemente hit again, reaching out, slashing it into center. That pitch looked like it'd be about a foot outside, Chuck.
Hit it as if, like a stork. Here's Willie Stargell, and of course, as Kurt has already commented, Stargell has been in a little bit of a slump. It's a worrisome thing. It happens to every ball player who's ever played the game. So Stargell was asked, what does he intend to do to get out of it?
Well, last year, I hit in the playoffs, and we didn't win. This year, I didn't hit, and we won. It took the death to be here. Personally, I've been taking some batting practice, hopefully that I can do some of the things that I'm capable of doing and have a big series. I've never been in the World Series before, so I'm definitely looking forward to this one.
Willie Stargell has a count of 1 ball and no strikes. It's 2-0 to him now. Pirates ahead 3-1. They've had 3 hits. The Orioles have had 1 hit. Clemente's at first, nobody out. The 2-0 pitch. Ball 3 is high. Three and 0. The Stars will get the green light on this one. A strike, 3-1. We have action again in the Baltimore bullpen. Dave Leonard, a right-hander, warming up. 3-1 pitch. Strike 2 with a fastball. 3-2 for Willie Stargell. Now let's see if they start Clemente. No. Foul, back out of play. Dave McNally never pitched in high school, but he pitched in American Legion ball. In fact, American Legion post number 4 in Billings, Montana was the team he pitched for. The 3-2 delivery. He walked him, and the Pirates have runners on first and second, nobody out. And Bob Robertson coming up. And McNally's old American Legion coach and his wife are here as his guests for the World Series. Must be quite a Legion team. They won 26 out of 28 state titles. It's not a bad record. 3-1 on the NBC scoreboard. The Pirates are ahead. If you joined us late, the Pirates got 3 in the top of the second. Baltimore made 2 errors. Frank Robinson hit a homer in the last of the second for the Orioles. And the Pirates are threatening again. They've had at least 1 runner on each inning. 0-1 to Bob Robertson, who walked his first time. Deep and about a step or 2 toward left for Bob Robertson. But he can hit home runs over the right center field wall and the right field fence. We saw him do it in San Francisco. Left, center, and right in the same game. Foul ball, strike 2. 0-2 to Bob Robertson. That's Clemente, the lead runner at second. Stargell at first. Nobody out. A ball and 2 strikes to him. Slight breeze now blowing from third to first. Notice those white houses up there in the background of the hill. A left-hander coming straight overhand. That ball will come out of those white houses and give the hitter some problems, some background problems. A 1-2 pitch. Struck him out on a fastball. That's the third strikeout for McNally. And Manny Sanguillen's up. He was on with a fielder's choice his first time. Sanguillen didn't play baseball. As a youngster, he was a soccer player in Panama. He went to a Bible school in high school, and that's when he started playing baseball. Now they're playing him in the right center and right field. One out, runners on first and second. Strike one. Earl Weaver was telling us that this World Series could be won and lost on the way the managers position their players on defense. He said the Mets beat us in '69 because they were always there when we hit the ball. He says Pittsburgh's hard to defense. You never know where they're going to hit it. Foul ball back. They've already announced the paid attendance today, 53,229. Two strikes to Manny Sanguillen. Clementi's at second. Stargell's at first. One away. The Pirates ahead 3-1. They got him. Strike three. Just ticked it into the mitt of Ellie Hendricks. A foul tip. A bad pitch outside. 4 strikeouts for McNally. This may be a crucial inning for McNally. Oakland got ahead of him the first game of the playoffs, 3-1. And then McNally settled down after the 5th inning and shut him out the rest of the way. And he was here in the 3rd. This one's not over yet this inning. He has Pagan now to face. But he has struck out Robertson and Sanguillen in a row. Pagan hits a fly ball to left center. Don Buford's there. Sides retired. No run. 1 hit, no errors, 2 left. That could be a lift for McNally and the Orioles. At the end of 2.5 innings, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates 3, the Baltimore Orioles 1.
Good point, Coach. Play all year long and just play their game, no matter what went wrong. They just play the game and hope that they can do what needs to be done.
0-9-7.
Ask Lou how it's going now.
How's it going there, Ed? How's that going? What's Scotty like?
Ask him how it's going.
How's it going?
Good. Trying to get on this kid.
Get on my phone. If I say anything else, I don't hear. Or they know who he is.
Last half, the 3rd inning for Baltimore. The shortstop hitting in the number 8 position, Mark Belanger. To be followed by Dave McNally, then to the top of the order, and Don Buford. Belanger hit .266. He has had roller coaster seasons the last 4 years. And there's a bounding ball. Skips through for a base hit by Belanger. Belanger goes up about 50 points, then dropped off again, back up again. Dave McNally has hit 2 World Series home runs. The only other man in series history to do that has been Bob Gibson of the pitchers. Strike to McNally. McNally hit a home run in the World Series against Jerry Koosman in '69. And you'll remember last year he became the first pitcher ever to hit a grand slam home run. He hit that one off Wayne Granger. Strike two. Nothing in two. He had ideas of sacrificing that time. No balls, 2 strikes to McNally. Pagan stays even with the bag at third. And Bob Robertson, the Pirate first baseman, is one of the best in the game at playing the bunt. Outside. He is deadly on charging bunts and throwing to second or third. Now Danny Murtaugh says check with somebody out there. Did he commit himself or not? Danny Murtaugh. He was 54 years old yesterday. He doesn't have an awful lot to say, but don't let him fool you. He's a competitor.
Maybe he didn't say a lot, but that look he directed toward first base had a few words in it.
1 ball, 2 strikes to McNally. Belanger at first, nobody out. Strike 3, he's gone. First strikeout for Doc Ellis. Switch hitting Don Buford up, grounded out to second his first time. Buford had about 30 cc of fluid drained from his knee a couple of weeks ago. He has a chronic bad knee that he got playing college football at USC. A surprising power when you look at him. He's a squat figure, but he hit 19 homers. Ball 1 to Buford. We're now at the top of the Oriole batting order. The Pirates are leading 3-1 last of the third. Belanger at first, 1 out. A 1-1 count. So far, Ellis has looked sharp. He's got a good fastball today and breaking stuff. He was not impressive out of San Francisco in the playoffs. His elbow was bothering him. Pitched only 5 innings. There's a ground ball in the right field for a base hit. Clemente has a great arm, and they respect it. Roberto Clemente, although the throw get away, they're not going to go from first to third on Clemente, especially when they're trailing. So the Orioles have runners on first and second. 1 down. And Merv Retman up. He grounded out his first time.
We'll have a chance to look at it this time, Kurt. I wanted to comment on it the first time Retman came up. The Pirates are playing Retman quite a bit differently than the clubs in the American League played him. As we look at center fielder Kleins, he is just a step or two toward right center. For the most part, Retman is respected as one of the harder hitters to the opposite field of the American League. And now I see that Kleins is getting a little bit more toward right.
Merv Retman, the outstanding athlete ever produced at Ball State, Muncie, Indiana. A ball to him. He was a good enough football player to be drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. We were saying the first time up that he's been a very patient fellow. He could have played regular with most teams in the major leagues, but he had to sit on the bench here until he finally got his chance this year. 1 ball, no strikes. 1 out, runners on first and second. Outside, 2-0 to Merv Retman. Well, each club has had 3 hits. These are going to be 2 tough clubs to stop. They each led their league in runs scored. Breaking pitch for a strike. Baltimore led their league in batting average with 261. The Pirates didn't lead their league. They hit 274 as a team, 1 point behind the Cardinals. But the Orioles had more home runs than the Pirates. There's a drive in the deep left field, way back, and that ball is gone for a home run for Merv Retman.
The Retman home run swing. Stargell desperately trying to get to it, and it was just a long time gone. And now let's take a look at Retman all alone in this power of this swing. Though he has hit but 11 home runs in the regular campaign, he just got everything he had into that cut, did he not, Kurt?
He sure did, and he had his head down right on that ball, the way a good hitter should. There's ball one to Boog Powell. Merv Retman's second series home run. He hit one in the final game last year off Cloninger. And he was put in the lineup today in place of Paul Blair to get a little more punch into the Baltimore batting order, and Earl Weaver pushed the right button with him today. Changeup. Strike one, 1-1. Bob Moose now warming up in the Pirate bullpen. And the Orioles take the lead 4-3. A 1-1 pitch. Low. We said the Orioles had hit 5 more homers than Pittsburgh, yet the Pirates led the National League in home runs. Now you have 2 real power teams going at each other. 1 out, nobody on. 2 balls and a strike. Foul back. 2-2. Quite a play made up in the stands. There's Frank Robinson on deck. They have a shift on against Powell. Long drive foul down the left field line. Boog Powell was a high school tackle at Key West, Florida. The quarterback behind him was George Myra. Boog had about 25-30 scholarship offered to him, but he chose professional baseball. 3-2 to Powell. One out, nobody on. Powell walks. Don Leppert now is coming out of the... Bill Burden, I beg your pardon. Didn't tell him from the side. Bill Burden, who probably will succeed Danny Murtaugh. If Murtaugh retires, Murtaugh can have the Pirate managing job as long as he wants. It's up to him. And that's going to be all for Doc Ellis. He goes out. And there's a break in the action here at Baltimore with a score. The Baltimore Orioles 4, Pittsburgh Pirates 3. And now a word on behalf of Major League Baseball. All right, Tony, where are you?
I'm sitting right alongside the dugout, the third base dugout of the Orioles, Kurt. And, you know, we had a chance so far to see a couple of things very unusual about the Orioles especially. One fact that they very seldom give up runs. They very seldom are intimidated by an opposing team. They were by the Pittsburgh Pirates when they gave up 3 runs on just 1 hit, committed 2 errors. We also saw the great competitive spirit of this ball club, led by their team leader, Frank Robinson. After the 3 runs were given up, Robbie went up to the plate, first man up, hit the home run, and right then you could see the aura of this club in the dugout change from one of a little bit of dejection having giving up those 3 runs to one of wanting to win again, and their pride was hurt, and Robbie pulled them back out again. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, thank you, Tony. And now here is Frank Robinson facing Bob Moose, 24 years old today, Bob Moose. A happy birthday to him. Born in Export, Pennsylvania, which is about 15 miles from Old Forbes Field. Bob lives in Pittsburgh now. He won 11 and lost 7 this year with an earned run average of 4.11. A strike to Frank Robinson. Moose was used as a starter 18 times and as a relief pitcher 12 times. Boog Powell at first. 1 down, the Orioles ahead 4-3 in the last of the third. Playing off the bag against Powell. Van Gien boxed that one in front of him. A ball and a strike. They're giving Frank Robinson the right field corner. Wide open out there. They're deep and toward left for him. 1-1 pitch. He's trying to go to right, too. He was trying to smash that ball through the right side of the infield or into the right field corner. A big hole on the right side of the infield.
Kurt, a year ago, he was 0 for 9 in the World Series and still tried to go to right field and got a base hit out of it when the Orioles came home.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Bob Moose strikes him out. 2 down. Monday morning on Today, join Barbara Waller, Joe Garagiola, Frank Blair, and the entire staff in welcoming new host Frank McGee to Today right here on NBC. Ellie Hendricks up, grounded out his first time. And they're playing him almost with a shift. Gets away, there goes Powell the second. A wild pitch charged against Bob Moose. 2 down, Powell now in scoring position. They have called the catching position the weakest spot in the Baltimore lineup, and yet the Baltimore catchers have produced 19 home runs this year. 9 by Hendricks, 9 by Echeverria, and 1 by Dalrymple. Hendricks can pull the ball to right a long way. On the corner to him. A ball and a strike.
I'm just thinking, Kurt, that if Moose can keep the ball where he had it the last pitch to Hendricks all day, he'll not have any trouble with Elrod. That was a perfect pitch to Hendricks.
Trying to keep it there, but that time he missed. 2-1. You'll remember in the '69 World Series against the Mets, one of those unbelievable catches that Tommy Agee made was off the bat of Hendricks to deep left center. He's not supposed to hit there, but he did.
Who can forget the Hendricks hit in the World Series in Cincinnati last year? 4,000 hops over third base.
Right. 2 balls and a strike to Hendricks. 3-1. Boog Powell at second, 2 down. The Orioles ahead 4-3, last of the third. Three and 2. That's Jackie Hernandez that you see in back of second, the shortstop. And he's played 2 or 3 of the Oriole hitters this way now. Three and 2 to Ellie Hendricks. There's a drive into right center. Clemente going back. He came in on the ball and had to go back. You very seldom see Clemente do that. Charging and then had to reverse direction. 3 runs for the Orioles. 3 hits. There were no errors. 1 left. At the end of 3, the score, Baltimore 4, Pittsburgh 3.
7.
The batter, number 2, Jack Hernandez.
Jack Hernandez will lead off for the Pirates, their number 8 hitter in the lineup, followed by the pitcher Moose and then Dave Cash at the top of the order. Hernandez credited with a sacrifice bunt and a run batted in his first time. A strike. Well, we'll have to see what happens, but you could have had a turning point in this game in the third. And the Pirates had runners on first and second, nobody out. And then McNally struck out Robertson, Sanguin, and got Pagan on a fly. Foul ball. Had Robertson or Sanguin done something and given the Pirates some scores, McNally might have been out. He's one of those pitchers like Cuellar. You don't want to let him get away. You better deliver that knockout blow early on him. You've got him. The 2-strike pitch. 1-2 to Jackie Hernandez. Foul ball. He's had some record here in Baltimore the last 4 years. He's won 48 out of 60 games in this ballpark. The 1-2 pitch. It's like his slider up high. 2-2.
Among them, I think, really amazing things about McNally, Kurt, is the fact that here's a fellow who won 21 games, and yet he spent 38 days on the disabled list. That's, incredible.
Really is, Chuck. The 2-2 pitch to Hernandez. Fastball got him. That's 5 strikeouts for McNally. And as we told you, he averages only about 3.5 strikeouts a game. Is he a little faster than usual, Chuck?
He is throwing a little harder today, and I was just going to remind you again, Kurt, that I was the fellow that said he wasn't a strikeout pitcher. And now he's got 5 of them.
Well, he has been today. Bob Moose is up for the first time. A ball to him. Four to 3, Baltimore leading, top of the 4th. Foul into the seats. 1-1 to Bob Moose.
Just one final comment on the strikeouts of McNally. When he won his 20th game against the Yankees, he pitched a shutout, and he had his strikeout high for the year, 7.
One delivery. Foul ball. 1-2 to Bob Moose. Game 2 tomorrow. We'll be on at 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time. That's Cash on deck. Oh, beautiful curveball. And now McNally has struck out 6. Dave Cash lined to center his first time and then singled. Baltimore 4, Pittsburgh 3 in the top of the 4th. McNally has struck out 4 of the last 5 batters. Curve hangs outside. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television. Kurt Gowdy, Chuck Thompson, and Tony Kubek back with you as McNally sends a sweeping curve across. A ball and a strike. His breaking pitch seems to be sharper now than it was earlier. Fastball. 2-1 to Cash. 2 down, bases empty. The on-deck batter is Gene Clines. And after that fastball to make it 2-2, and McNally really jammed him with that one, right on the fist. Two pitch. Line drive to right fielder Frank Robinson. And the Pirates are down 1-2-3. So at the end of 3.5 innings, the score is the Baltimore Orioles 4, the Pittsburgh Pirates 3. Let this guy get away.
Funny, there is that slight parallel that you mentioned in his start against Vida Blue. He got nailed for 6 hits and 3 runs in the first 2.
Baggies will be picked up in the lobbies of the York Saturday tomorrow afternoon.
Thank you.
He's going to be posted up in designated areas in the lobby and that's going to take your hand. If you're on the chair, there could be more on the side. Also, there are a few seats remaining on the plane if you're interested in getting a hold of contact Jack. And that's what he's got closest to the airport. We'll be ready to play the ball game tomorrow.
In the last of the 4th inning, Brooks Robinson, Dave Johnson, and Mark Belanger will be up for the Orioles. Robinson flied to center his first time. Way in deep, 2 steps toward left. Bob Moose's pitch is a chopper, hauled down by Moose, 1 away. Good fielding play by Bob Moose. Dave Johnson lined to the pitcher his first time.
Number 15, Dave Johnson.
Doc Ellis, the starter, went 2 in the 3rd innings, allowed 4 hits, 4 runs. Walked 1 and struck out 1. He was removed in the 3rd. Just outside a ball to Dave Johnson, who in the offseason now is going to be a golf professional in Florida. He hits a high fly to Clemente in right center. 2 down. And this Baltimore bat boy, Jay Mazzone, is going to retire after this World Series at the age of 18. He's going to college. Very courageous story. We'll be talking to him later. Gets $5 a game, but a share of the World Series voted to him by the Orioles. They love him. Mark Belanger, outside ball. He lost his hands in a fire. His father is an undercover narcotics agent for the Maryland State Police. And he's a great example to all you youngsters around America that you can do what you want to do. Ball 2, 2-0. Belanger singled up the middle his first time. 3-0 to Mark Belanger. It was quite a basketball star at Pittsfield, Massachusetts. He's got the build of a basketball player. Tall, lean, big hands, quick action. 3-1. 2 down, nobody on. Baltimore leading 4-3, last to the 4th. There's a drive in the right field. Clemente charging. Ricochets off his leg and glove. Belanger coming for 3. Clemente picks the ball up and it's too late. Clemente, normally an acrobat in the outfield, with a diving attempt at that one, and it must have struck his right leg, Chuck.
Well, let's watch it again. The effort of Clemente to get the line drive in the alley in right center. And it caromed, as you saw, right off the left knee and really took off as if somebody, had hit it with a bat. And yes, that outfield is a little bit bumpy and a little bit tough to handle. And I'm not sure whether Roberto was in between coming into a slide to make the catch and then decided, well, maybe I can get it on the fly. 3 base hit.
Belanger has a triple. He's on 3rd. There are 2 down. And the Oriole pitcher, Dave McNally's up. He struck out his first time. Five hits for the Orioles, 2 homers and a triple among them. The Pirates have had 3 hits. The Orioles leading 4-3. 0-1 to McNally. That's Mrs. Dave McNally in the background in the circle. Hoping her husband can help his own cause right now. The 1-strike pitch to him. 0-2 to McNally. Belanger at third, 2 down. Just outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes to McNally. I believe only another player or 2 has come from Montana into the big leagues. The climate is not conducive to play baseball the year round. The 1-2 pitch struck him out. No runs, 1 hit. There were no errors and 1 left. And at the end of 4 innings, the score is Baltimore 4 and Pittsburgh 3. I said, Dave, how's the weather in Springer and Billings? He said, it's like Wyoming. You got snow up
Got to
the
do the same way, yeah. That's what I want to do later on in life, too. I want to tour that end of the country. I'm going to rent at least a camper, and I want to drive.
I'll set you up with everything out there.
Just love it.
State tourist, friends of mine. I give you that state a lot of pleasure. Tomorrow we have a big baseball-football doubleheader on NBC. The World Series Game 2 will be on starting at 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time. To be followed by the Oakland Raiders and Denver Bronco NFL game right after World Series Game number 2. And tomorrow's pitchers, 2 right-handers, Jim Palmer for the Orioles, Bob Johnson for the Pirates. Gene Kleins is flying to left, hit into a force play. And it's a strike from McNally. Active major leaguers born in Montana. Dave McNally that you're looking at right now on the mound. From Billings. Ground ball. Brooks Robinson stabs it. 1 down. There he goes into action.
And I caution you again, this is 1971, not 1970. And here is the miraculous glove of Brooks Robinson. And again, I'm sure you have heard this comment, and Kurt has used it a few times, that everything Brooks Robinson does, he does with his left hand, except throw a baseball. He writes with his left hand, he beats with his left hand. Here it is again, from a different angle. And just an outstanding, or I guess for Brooks, a routine defensive play.
Roberto Clemente has doubled to right center off the wall and singled to center, 2 out of 2. Gary Niebauer, an Atlanta pitcher, is born in Billings, Montana. And John Lowenstein, a Cleveland infielder from Wolf Point, Montana. So they have 3 in the majors. Nice one. I just want those folks out there to take care of those great blue ribbon trout streams they have. Keep them cold and clear and don't build any unnecessary dams. Marvelous trout streams. God-given. Ball 1, strike 1 to Roberto Clemente. 4-3. The Orioles leading, the Pirates batting in the 5th with 1 out, nobody on. Clemente hits a high fly out to Frank Robinson. The right fielder has it, and they're 2 down. Willie Stargell has struck out and walked. And now Dave McNally has retired 8 in a row. They let him off the hook in the 3rd when they had runners on 1st and 2nd, nobody out. Ball 1. He'd had a wild pitch in the second. He'd walked the batter. The Orioles played sloppy baseball in the second, gave up a couple of runs on errors. Ground ball to short. Belanger, a bad hop to him, but he still has it with those quick hands of his. That nearly hit him in the throat. 3 up and 3 down for the Pirates in the 5th. And at the end of 4.5 innings, it's Baltimore 4 and Pittsburgh 3. Yeah. Right.
Correct. All right. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
That was quite a nasty hop to the Belanger. Can you get it? Lou? Bad hop, wasn't it?
It wasn't bad hop. That was a comment Weaver made. That he thought that his infield had played a bad hop, should have come better.
Game 1 of the World Series is half over. We're going now to the last of the 5th inning. And moving in now to detail the play-by-play action is the very popular and capable Chuck Thompson, the voice of the Baltimore Orioles.
Thank you very much, Kurt, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Buford, and he is 1 for 2 today, and that's the story on his seasonal work with the Orioles. One other comment. Buford, with 19 home runs, 5 times this year, opened an Oriole game with a home run. I guess that might have been called a timely comment. Well, he is now 2 for 3, and Baltimore with a 5-3 lead over Pittsburgh. And there have been a total of 9 base hits in the ballgame. The Orioles have authored 3 home runs and a triple. And now Rettenmund with a key hit in the Oriole 3rd inning, the 3-run home run. Buford's home run is his 3rd series home run. But his first in his first at-bat in '69, he hit one, and also one in '70. 1-1 to Rettenmund. Rettenmund led the Oriole club in hitting with .318. He also led the club in stolen bases with 15. Ball, 2 strikes to Rettenmund. Watching Bob Moose, who was pitching in relief of starter Doc Ellis, who went 2 1/3 innings. Good breaking stuff from Moose, and he notches his 3rd strikeout, 1 out in the inning. I'm sure you are aware they are not really booing Boog Powell. They just kind of croon his first name, Boog. And the big man has said, "You better believe I can hear that G." Grounded to short and walked. Ball 1. And the Pirates continue to play Powell as they have each trip to the plate. An overshift with 3 infielders between first and second, and the outfield, as you saw earlier, deep and around the right. Ball 2. Powell, we take a look now at the disposition defensively of the Pirates. Here's that inviting third base side of the infield. Of course, I would imagine Pittsburgh would be happy to try and have Powell go the other way. Now, third baseman Pagan. Well, you see the wind that Kurt mentioned a little earlier, going from third to first, is what dropped it back in fair ground. 2 down. The NBC television network is doing the World Series for the 25th time. The inaugural telecast of the Yankee-Dodger series of 1947, NBC had a modest network of 4 stations. In this series, 200. And here is Frank Robinson. Homered in the first inning. Struck out in the third. He was the first man that Moose faced in the third inning. Ball. Ball 2. As Tony Kubek commented earlier, the spark was ignited on the Frank Robinson home run in the second inning. And I think back, and many of you do too, I'm sure, to the Orioles' first World Series in 1966 against the Dodgers. And this was the man who ignited the spark with a home run. 2-1 to Frank. Moose again with fine breaking stuff. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. No. A full count, 3-2 to Frank Robinson. 2 out, a run in on the Buford leadoff home run. Baltimore 5, Pittsburgh 3, Game 1 of the 1971 World Series. And that's the second time Moose has fanned Frank Robinson. The Orioles a run, a base hit, and nobody left on at the end of 5. The score, Baltimore 5 and Pittsburgh 3.
This is our next.
Is that too fast?
No, I'm just speaking. When we come out of this, I'll get you.
All right. Linda Warehouse.
Getting a little bigger.
Oh, she's better looking, baby. Hey, take a
15 years old.
Get that girl.
Find out.
25 on.
Before the Pirates come to bat, we pause now for station identification.